Welcome back to episode 4,
Back in action.
Back in Action. Today, we have a couple of topics today. We want to talk about the Nosferatu trailer, the Francesco Mattina AI art controversy.
And of course, we got to talk about Superman. We put it off long enough.
Way too long, but
4 episodes.
thankfully, a lot of new stuff has come out, so it's
Worth the
given us
wait.
time. It did,
Yeah,
worth the wait.
that's why we have waited until now to talk about it, is because we were waiting until something big happened, and
A
those set
lot.
photos, yeah,
Yeah, a
that,
lot of stuff.
I would very
So.
much classify that as something big.
Yeah, and we might forget to talk about some things here and there because of how much came out, but just know that if there's something we haven't covered, just rewind the video because we probably 100% covered it, and you just didn't hear it. So yeah,
Yeah, we're not wrong. You
yeah,
are.
yeah, you're wrong. Yeah.
Um, Well, first thing up, we can uh, start and end the episode with the DCU. There's gonna be a new dance for Peacemaker season 2.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, it's hopefully it's good because
I hope. Well, the bar was set pretty high from
that's
season 1.
that's my worry is if you don't nail it, then it's like ah shit.
It's the same choreographer. It's
Okay.
Alan Tudyk's wife, because he's the
Oh, interesting.
one. Because Alan Tudyk is the one that was like, yeah, my wife's working on a new dance number for the season 2 intro.
Okay,
So that's how we found out
that
about it.
works. Okay.
So it's the same person. I have faith.
Confident, yeah.
But I mean,
Gunn hasn't made anything. James Gunn hasn't made anything bad, in my opinion, yet.
and his song choice, his music choice for all his projects have been phenomenal.
Yeah,
Guardians, Peacemaker season 1 that we're talking about. Hopefully, Superman's gonna have a good soundtrack too.
I hope it's not invasive because like a Superman movie, I feel like should be very. I don't think it should have songs. That's just me, but maybe he'll
Yeah, more of a soundtrack instead of, or
yeah
a score instead of a soundtrack.
emphasis on the score rather than adding in song. Like maybe one or two here, it's fine, but
Well, keeping on that train of season 2, Moon Knight. It's rumored that Moon Knight season 2 is going to get announced at D23 in a little over a month. It's going to be next month. Yeah,
I'm excited for D23 because
yeah.
they have a lot of stuff that they need to clear up and rearranging of projects that they're focusing on. It's been kind of a mess over there at Disney, but
It's been a huge mess at
it
Disney.
has. Yeah.
My thing though, I'm pissed. It's
For
been three. It's
oh
been.
yeah.
It's gonna. If it. Okay. Yeah. Let's say everything goes well, and
Mhm.
actually season 2 of Moon Knight comes out next year. 3 years between 2 seasons of a TV show.
Wild. Yeah.
That rivals Invincible.
It does. I
like,
feel like even Loki was long enough wait, but like that one made a little bit more sense, but like that's the amount of wait you should have at the most. It was like a 2 year wait, I think, something like
I
that.
think, yeah, for a TV
Maybe three,
show,
I don't remember.
2 years is like you're pushing it.
You are. Yeah.
And I feel like it's double that for a movie. Like if it's 4 years between sequels, that's like the hype. Where is it? It's gone.
It does, and that's I think what a movie like Aquaman fell into. Like
Yeah,
they needed to ride that
that
hype wave,
was
and they didn't.
2018 to
5 years like
2023.
that. Yeah,
5 years between movies,
yeah.
and there was a terrible. Well, actually, Justice League came out before it, but there was COVID and just a lot of
It was a
stuff.
mess. Yeah. But getting back onto the track of Moon Knight, season 2 I think is necessary because season 1, they say or they said back then that it wasn't really it stood alone, but I think the show hinged on a season 2 very much in the end.
Yeah, the ending with Jake Lockley,
Yeah.
and yeah, I liked season 1 of Moon Knight. I would have liked it better if they dropped all the episodes at once, like Netflix. And that I rarely say that because I
Yeah.
prefer having to wait a week. But
I
with
don't think the Disney structure for their TV shows allows for that though.
How
For
do you
it
mean?
to make it interesting. I don't it's something about some of their shows just when you get one episode, it comes out and it's like, okay, that didn't really give us much. It feels like they format them to be 6-hour movies rather than
Yeah,
actual TV shows
that's why I feel like it would be better if they
if
did
they
the
just release
Netflix.
all of them.
Yeah, because then you have a 6 hour movie you can binge through
Yeah,
instead of
exactly.
being like, okay, I got through an hour of a movie and I have to
Yeah.
wait for the next hour. in a week.
Yeah, exactly.
That I hope that season 2 can remedy that a little bit, and
Hopefully.
maybe it can be a better, because it was a good story. It just that's
It
not
was
good for a
okay.
show.
I didn't. Yeah, I
Oh,
wasn't.
but you
Um,
disagree a little bit?
the show is. I think I liked it at the time, but I think it for me was they hyped the hell out of like, oh, this is a really dark, like risky show, and nothing about the show except for maybe the story with the DID and whatnot. I did like some of the creative elements of it, right, where they go to the alternate world or whatever. I think that was good. I did like that.
I I feel like I was misled a little bit from the trailers, because like
Yeah.
you said, with the promises of like, oh, it's going to be like Daredevil, and
Hmm.
like and then the trailer, I believe the trailer ended with the bathroom scene where he's beating on the demon,
That was how
and
the
then he
first
turns
episode
around.
ended too. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was a really cool shot, and I thought we were going to get like a good brawler,
Exactly.
and then every time a cool moment was about to happen, he like passed out and then woke up and the cool moment was like done.
Exactly.
And it's like,
That and
oh,
that was what I hated about the finale is it just skipped all of what
the
happened.
final boss fight, and it's like, no, you don't get
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah.
It's giving like Deadpool, like, oh, we forgot the guns, so Act
Yeah. Yeah.
3 is gonna be like,
Exactly. Yeah.
they ran out of budget and they couldn't even
Yeah.
do the final fight.
It's lame, but
I I did really like whenever they were in, I don't remember the underworld place what it was called, but
it's like
whenever,
the psychological world or
yeah,
whatever.
like
Yeah.
I read Percy Jackson and the Kane Chronicles as a kid. Come on, don't fail me. The Duat, I think.
That sounds familiar.
When they were
It
there with the
sounds
hippo
yeah.
woman, I really liked whenever the personalities could actually like talk with each other.
Yeah, I think they should have leaned into that more because that's like if you look at some of the panels with Moon Knight, it's all of the personalities getting in
Yeah,
fights and whatnot, and that's the most interesting shit.
I actually prefer when it's just one. It's just Mark, and
Hmm.
they only did this for, I think it was the 2011 or 2012 Moon Knight run,
Yeah,
like volume 5 or 6 or something, um, where it was just Mark that was Moon Knight, and his three other personalities was Captain America, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. And I
yeah,
think that was really. I mean, obviously they weren't the real characters; they were Moon Knight's messed up, like how he saw them,
hmm,
um, and it was really cool. And like, well, spoilers for that run if you want to read that. But the Wolverine persona ends up murdering the Captain America and Spider-Man personas, because the Wolverine persona is this dark, violent person, and
yeah,
then once he kills the other two, he just eggs on Moon Knight to be more ruthless and to be more brutal.
hmm,
And that was just really interesting. That I feel like you
yeah,
wouldn't be able to really get with just like Jake Lockley and
yeah, yeah. I think the story in the season was it had interesting elements. I just don't think it was as risky as it needed to be. It needed to be a lot more like and they marketed that way. They marketed this show to be like extremely risky, and it wasn't. So I hope season two is that way.
yeah.
I hope they can learn their lesson because the Jake Lockley element I think can be cool, but
I mean, they're just losing all their hype. I mean, even
exactly.
Shang-Chi came out in 2021.
Yeah,
No sequel announced, no anything.
no, nothing.
Um, Before we move on to maybe Nosferatu,
Sure. Yeah,
before we
why not?
move on to that, uh, still on this D23 train,
Hmm.
you actually had told me, I think a day or two ago, that the Avengers
A
is
lineup.
gonna, yeah, it's gonna get announced at D23.
I had that's a rumor
A
is that
rumor.
it will, so it may or may not. I don't see why it wouldn't because that those movies are
I
not
mean,
only with the whole Jonathan Majors controversy and they're reworking all that.
yeah. What else does Disney have? Like they kind
Exactly.
of need to.
That and they're supposed to come out in like it's still supposed to come out in like 26, 27, which isn't really too far
Probably
in hindsight
26, because there was an interview that where like Benedict Cumberbatch was talking about all his characters,
that he's filming
and
for and whatnot.
yeah, and when he got to Doctor Strange, he was like, "Oh yeah, the Avengers people, like the something about they're going to be shooting next year."
Yeah.
So Doctor
Okay.
Strange is on the team for sure.
Hmm.
Who else do you think is going to be on this Avengers
Shang-Chi we
team?
know because they
Yep.
confronted him. Captain Marvel for sure as well.
Do you think Captain Marvel, Photon, or Miss Marvel?
I think Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
because Miss Marvel, didn't they set up that like Young
Oh, the Young
Avengers?
Avengers. Yeah, you're right.
They may or may not do. Like at this point, I don't know if they're gonna do anything with that,
They
but
gotta have Sam Wilson, Captain America. I mean, his
I
movie's
think they
coming out.
will. Didn't you say the new Avengers lineup was like him, Miss Marvel, or sorry, not Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and then like other people? Do you think War Machine will be on the team?
I would like for War Machine to be on the team. I don't know how old Ironheart is supposed to be. Well, she's a college student. Well, so
I
is
think
Kate
so.
Bishop.
Yeah,
So
they'll
I
probably
don't
be
know.
Young Avengers for now.
Well, then,
I don't.
okay, if Ironheart is a young Avenger, then I
Yeah.
think War Machine will be a new Avenger.
Okay.
Um, I'd love to see Daredevil on the team. I know a lot of people want Spider-Man to be on the Avengers
I
team.
don't want. He needs time away from the team
He does,
because he's been on all the teams
and I feel like,
since he arrived, technically. So
I mean, yeah, he was in the Team Iron Man,
yeah,
and then he was on the Avengers and Infinity War and Endgame. Like, yeah, give him time to breathe. Let him be in college.
yeah.
Um,
Just let him be him.
but yeah, She-Hulk maybe.
I
I
wouldn't
know
be
her.
adverse to that. Yeah.
I know her show didn't do very well, but
I didn't really like the show, but I think the character, I think I would like to see more of her.
I think the comedy was pretty hit or miss. At
It,
least with me.
yeah, I see that's the issue with like a comedy show is if it's mostly missing or missing half of the time, it's like you can only give it so much.
Yeah, and they were kind of doing um a bit too specific humor, like with
Yeah.
the female stuff where it's like, oh,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that will either turn people away
Yeah.
or it will just make them not want to watch anymore. Which will, what, that's turning people away twice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
So
and
it's
the hard part is you need to have a balance of like, because I do think if you want to spread that message, it's not like that bad of a message, as long as you're two-sided about it, I guess.
yeah, but
Um,
I mean,
but
it,
I guess it's also comedy, so you don't really need to be two-sided. You can
yeah,
be one-sided.
but I mean, in the first episode though, when
Hmm.
you're dropping weekly, like to have that kind of a charged joke, I'm gonna put in quotes, to
Yeah.
have like a charged joke like that in the first episode is like I know a lot of people watched that first episode and then they were like, this is what the show's gonna be, and then they just didn't watch
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And that's I just that's upsetting because it wasn't a bad show. I
It was. It was. It
I'm not saying it was a great show.
No,
It
I
wasn't
don't
bad.
see. I don't hate it. I used to hate it. I don't know why I used to hate it, but it's not. None of the message really got. I think it was the ending. I could not stand the whole um playing into the overly playing into like, oh, I went to Kevin Feige headquarters and knocked on his door.
The
I just thought was fucking stupid.
the fourth wall, yeah, they overdid it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but apparently that's how the character is, and
well,
so
yeah, but I mean, she's more of a fourth wall breaker than Deadpool. Like
yeah,
Deadpool will just look at the audience and say shit, or he'll just acknowledge that he's a comic book character.
yeah,
But She-Hulk has actually like ripped open the panels of her comic book
yeah,
and then like
exactly, yeah,
went to Marvel headquarters and like was like, "Hey, you need to fix my next issue or something like that."
yeah.
But
Which I think could be fun. The issue is like when you base. I think it should have been like it should not be a movie. I think it should be like a special presentations. Apparently, they're getting rid of.
which sucks cuz
That's the best way to
that'd
do
be
that.
better than a show.
Imagine if she was like, "Hey, Marvel headquarters, you need like if they did that in a special presentation at the end, she's like, "Oh, you need to give me like a show or a movie to have more like
Yeah.
that would be a lot better."
I
I think.
just I think She-Hulk is not that she's not that well known. I mean, this is her
No,
first adaptation ever
I think she is well known, but it's like
by the general audience, I mean.
I think yeah, it's like when you have your Superman, you have your Supergirl, but
Yeah.
no one knows her.
Like if anything, like
So
my mom would be like, "Oh, the female Hulk, is that Hulk girl?" Like
yeah, exactly, yeah.
so I feel like it's a good deep cut,
Hmm.
but when you're trying to get the general audience to care about this new character they've never heard about, like doing
Yeah.
a deep cut like that for the fans, they're going to be confused. And they're
Yes.
gonna be like,
Yeah.
okay, whoa, what? Wait, is that the Disney home screen? Like she's out of that? She can
Yeah.
do that? Like,
Yeah.
um,
It's you need to have a good balance of like it needs to be well written and like sharply written. When your entire ending is like fucked because you've written it to where, oh, this guy is the main villain, this random
another
Discord user
yeah, just like with
is
Moon
now a
Knight.
Hulk, and it's like what?
And then she's like, actually, no, I don't like this.
Yeah, and she's
That's
like, oh, that's stupid. It's like, well, but you spent 9 episodes building up to that stupid shit just to say it was stupid. It's like, yeah, I fucking know. I watched 9 episodes. It was all fucking stupid.
it's just
I don't know.
lampshading. I really didn't appreciate that.
It wasn't a good idea to make it a show because if they do that as a comic where you can like pick up an issue, it's like, oh, that's fun. I haven't seen that before.
Well,
But
also, yeah, because that wasn't just 9 episodes. That was 9 weeks.
yes,
And that's another thing.
9 weeks wasted.
If they had just dropped all those
It
episodes,
felt like
I feel like the ending wouldn't have been that
exactly.
upsetting.
Yeah. See, exactly.
Um,
Exactly. That's a really good point. Anyways,
yeah. So, all right, we got Doctor Strange, we got Shang-Chi, Captain America, Captain Marvel, War Machine, She-Hulk,
hopefully.
Daredevil. That's 7. I feel like that would be a good. I feel like 7 would be
Has
the good.
Daredevil's been on the team before, right?
Daredevil was on the team in the 2010 the Heroic Age New Avengers run.
Okay, so you can make the case.
And that was actually he was on the team with Captain Marvel and Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Luke Cage. So
Okay,
it
so
was a
the
really
new
good
Avengers lineup. Okay.
that's like my favorite lineup because it's all like the street level heroes getting well except for Captain Marvel, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's like all the street level heroes getting together and making their own Avengers team while
Yeah.
the main Avengers are off planet like fighting
Doing
in
some other
space.
shit. Or in this case, all dead.
Yeah.
Off planet. Yeah, like Thor.
Yes.
Will Thor be on the team, you think?
Man, I hope not. I'd like for this team to be fully new.
Yeah.
Like that thing where they're like, okay, well we have to have one familiar face. It's like don't like
Yeah.
go all in on either old or new. Don't try and put
It's a hard bargain to sell because they've kind of shot themselves in the foot by not having any of these characters interact and having all the projects being completely random.
Oh yeah, that like they don't know each other. Like
No.
in Phase 1, Iron Man showed up in every movie to be like, hey,
Pretty much,
I'm
yeah.
here about the Avengers Initiative.
Yeah.
At the end of Incredible Hulk,
There was like a tying. It felt like they were like doing
yeah,
something.
not just it was
Building
either
something.
Iron Man, Coulson, or Fury.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't have anyone because Fury is. I mean, I didn't watch Secret Invasion, and I'm not going to.
Don't.
Did he die at the end of Secret Invasion?
No, because he's in Captain Marvel 2.
Oh, right.
The Marvels, and then
Black Girl magic.
I've heard that apparently it's easier if you haven't seen Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Which is so fucking weird how you can make a show that just makes everything worse.
And that's another thing that we're talking about, like with She-Hulk in not Miss Marvel, in the Marvels. Monica Rambeau, she's Photon, she is struggling to fly because she needs to go save someone that's falling out of the air, and she can't fly. And so Nick Fury just says, like, come on, use your black girl magic, and then she just flies. And it's like,
okay,
like that's cool to like say that in a movie, but whenever it's like, she couldn't fly.
It's her character arc. Oh, I need to fly. Okay, use this. That's a stupid like.
I feel like if she was able to fly on her own and then he said it after, would have been way better.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's like that's what made her be able to fly, like
yeah, it's like what the that's your pep talk, Nick Fury.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked, so I guess
it did.
Whatever, but
D23. Do you think? I mean, because of at the end of the Marvels, Kate Bishop showing up to Kamala or Kamala?
Right, yeah.
Kamala.
I say Kamala.
Okay, yeah, because I get her mixed up with Kamala Harris, and they.
Oh, okay.
And they're both spelled the same, but they're pronounced differently. But yeah, do you think the Young Avengers is going to get announced?
I feel like they have to, but they'll probably. I feel like right now.
I mean, they have no Avengers 5. It's not called Kang Dynasty anymore. It's just back to Avengers 5.
And that's the hard part. Is like, so they said they want this one Avengers movie, and then they want Secret Wars to be part 1 and part 2. So they're gonna have an Avengers movie, establishing the new lineup, I guess, and then Secret Wars Part 1 and then Secret Wars Part 2.
They keep rushing it. We
Yeah.
get one movie with imagine if after Avengers, the sequel was just Infinity War. And it's like, oh, we don't get to
Yeah.
see, that's why Age of Ultron was cool. It was just them as a team. Avengers, they got together. Age of Ultron, they were a team. And then in Infinity War, they had their world-breaking moment. And it's
Yeah.
like,
I just think it's like, if even the boys made fun of this. When you announce future phases, and it's like, we're still in phase 4. At the time, they were. And they're like, this is going to be phase 5 and this is going to be phase 6. I think that's dangerous, because then when you change your mind on that,
people were upset.
yeah, people are upset, and then you've already announced it, and it's like, oh shit, now we need to completely rework how we're doing it. And it's just a fucking mess.
And
That should have stayed internal.
the only reason they do that
What?
is for the shareholders.
Yeah,
Not even
exactly.
for, because they're a public company and the shareholders are like, well, what do you have coming up? So they have to do that.
Yeah.
That's so annoying.
And I feel like they had enough in phase 5 to be like, oh shit, they're doing Daredevil. Okay, they're doing
Yeah,
a
they
Captain
really
America 4.
didn't need. They didn't need to do phase 6.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't. It was just because I feel like they felt pressured to do it. And
Yeah.
they did, and now it's just fucked. So we'll see.
We will see. Like we said, it's gonna be next month, and we are definitely gonna be talking about it.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. I haven't seen the Nosferatu trailer yet. You have, right?
I have, yes.
All right. Well, we'll be right back.
We're gonna go watch it.
Yeah, we're gonna watch it.
And we're back. What did you think of it?
It looked amazing.
Imagery.
Wow.
Yeah. Imagery, actors, lighting.
That one shot of the town in darkness, and there was just that clawed hand reaching up. That was so cool.
Yeah, I like the shot immediately after with the boat. I love vast,
nothingness.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're holding the torches going under the bridge.
Have you seen The Last Voyage of the Demeter? It was Dracula, not Nosferatu.
No, I don't watch a lot of vampire movies, but this makes me want to start watching vampire movies.
Vampires are pretty cool, or vampires, as they called it in Willem Dafoe called him.
Yeah, because of his beautiful accent.
Yes, so Willem Dafoe is the professor. I don't know Nosferatu lore, so
no. Yeah, I know nothing, but
Nicholas Hoult. I don't know, because I don't know anything about Nosferatu. So just watching this trailer, I'm just in awe, and it's not a feeling that I like. I normally watch superhero trailers, and I know the source material, so I'm like, there's
back and front.
Yeah, so now I watch this.
I like this because usually trailers, if I don't really know, I'm less inclined to care. This, I'm genuinely like, I want to go out and see.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
It looked very cool. They said coming like a million times. That kind of pulled me out of the moment a little bit, just because be like, he's coming. Who's coming to you? He is coming, and there's just a lot of that. I don't know if that was the best for the trailer, but I mean the shots were cool. Other than that,
yeah.
The rats. I'm guessing
the guy who eats the pigeon. Yeah.
Yeah, where he just put that whole head in his mouth. That was crazy.
Yeah, wild.
The Hounds of Baskerville.
Yeah.
Because I think in the original book, he could turn into, or maybe I'm thinking of Dracula. I think I'm switching them up.
Could be.
But I know either one. I can't remember which one came first. He could turn into wolves, and then when Universal got the rights, they had already done the Wolfman, so they changed it to he could turn into a bat instead.
Okay, that sounds probably like Dracula.
Yeah, because I think they're, or maybe not the Hounds of Baskerville, but they're hellhounds or something. It's whenever he's sleeping in his coffin, the hounds protect his body. And we saw there was that shot where a door opened up, and it was the figure that I'm guessing is Bill Skarsgård. Yeah. And he had the two hounds next to him.
Yeah. So they'll work that into it, which I think is interesting. I like that.
Yeah, like we said, we don't know much about Nosferatu. Do you have anything else to say on that trailer?
I don't have too much to say. I really like that trailer, and I'm excited. Christmas, which is an interesting year. You'd think it'd be like Halloween, but
I like that it's a nice little gift.
It's a nice change of pace. Usually you got Aquaman 2 or a Star Wars movie, which they're not making anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, speaking on Star Wars, you know, Denis Villeneuve,
Denis
Villeneuve,
Villeneuve.
yeah, the guy that did
He's
Dune.
making a Star Wars
He's
movie
making a
apparently.
He's
That'd be
Dune
interesting.
Part 3 and his Star Wars film
Hmm.
are gonna come out in the same year.
Is this unrelated to the Rey movie?
I think it is
Okay.
because all I saw was untitled. You know, I'm not gonna say his name again because
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Denny, I'll call him Denny. Um,
Denny's.
but I'd be interested to see his Star Wars movie. I'm not I'm gonna try and not get my hopes up.
Yeah.
Because I mean it's like with J.J. Abrams or like with Ryan Johnson. I feel like
Yeah.
the higher ups in Disney are gonna be like, no, change this though. Don't do what you want to do.
I think it's interesting because you every once in a while have a really good piece of Star Wars media. I think this has a good chance of being good because it will possibly. I'm inclined to think that if he took this project, it's disconnected from everything.
And I would hope so.
Yeah, I would too if he's doing his own thing, as long as it's not a Rebel Moon situation where, yeah, ugh,
Yeah, Rebel. Yeah, I saw the first one. I'm not gonna see the
no,
part two.
no, yeah, yeah.
But yeah. So, do you have anything to say about Robert Eggers, the director that did The Lighthouse and The
The
Witch?
Witch. I love that a lot of his movies are controversial, and if you look at like IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes, a lot of it'll be like critics in the 90s, maybe 80s, and then the audience score is always lower,
Yeah.
which I think is the mark of a really cool movie because if everyone agrees on it, I think it's kind of boring to talk about.
I do like when films are like kind of left up for interpretation,
Yeah.
like the movie Her
Hmm.
with Joaquin Phoenix.
Hmm.
I don't really like that movie, but
Yeah.
like I can tell that it is a great movie.
Yeah,
But it's just like
it's fun to talk about because you might not like it, but then if I like it, and then we can have like
you could see something in it that I
discussion
didn't
about it.
see.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so The Witch, my introduction to Anya Taylor-Joy.
Mm.
I didn't know her. I don't. I mean, is that her first project? Do you think?
I don't think so. 2013. I feel like that would be. We're looking it up right now.
Yeah, this is great. Filmography. The Witch. It was her
her first movie.
first movie. Wow. Wait, she was in. Oh, okay. I saw in her filmography it was something called Barry, and I thought
Yeah.
it was the Bill Hader show. It is
Yeah.
not. It was a 2016 movie.
Yeah.
Have you seen Barry?
I've not. I've heard it's good.
It's so good. It's over now, but yeah, it's so funny.
Well, that's good to hear. So now I can actually watch it without being like, oh.
You ever see Adventure Time?
No.
Oh, let me see.
I'm not the most cultured motherfucker.
Well, because
You know.
there's a guy that's like the number 2 guy in the show, and he voiced Finn's dad on Adventure Time.
Oh, okay, I see.
You ever see The Legend of Vox Machina on Prime Video? Okay, well he also voices someone there. Man, I don't know what else he's been in. Oh well, he's a prolific voice actor, but yeah, Bill Barry, that show is really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to talk about the AI scandal?
Yeah,
in
moving
DC?
on to Francesca. What's his name? Mattina. Okay.
Francesco Mattina.
So the story with this man, who is an artist for DC, is that he, for a long while, has gotten away with tracing his art, and you can tell in everything he's done that it's always a traced image of someone else's art. And just recently,
and I mean that actually he was able to slide with it because
Yeah.
Marvel, like they just don't care if you trace, as long as you turn your work in on time, you're gonna keep
yeah,
getting
it doesn't.
employed.
Yeah,
Which is kind of frustrating because like
it is.
I mean I get it if it was in the book, but for
Yeah.
a cover, like
Exactly.
I want that to be unique.
It's frustrating from an artist perspective. From people who do this I see like people on Instagram and Twitter who are really great and have really great ideas, and when they're barely making ends meet, trying to making art as well, and then you have this asshole who's just getting away with tracing art and making a living off of doing that. It's probably extremely demeaning as an artist to see because you have people cheating.
Yeah,
and then these other people trying that are suffering.
And this is even worse than tracing, using AI. I mean, guys, if you're listening to this, look up Francesco Mattina, his art, because this,
Is Francesco or Francisco?
I have no idea. Which one do you want to say? You want to say chess or
Which F
fence?
word? I'll go with fuck.
Fuck Mattina.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so fuck Mattina. I mean, Johnny, look at this art. First of all, the Superman symbol has two tails at the bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, this weird haze in the middle. What,
It's
like,
just a nothing haze. Yeah.
is that supposed to be the S on his cape?
I don't know.
I mean, look at Lex Lit. There's just a random. Is that supposed to be a castle?
Dracula's castle. What the fuck?
Like,
Nosferatu crossover confirmed.
yeah. And then here's this Batman one. I think
I
that's
saw this
Calendar
one. Yeah.
Man.
The symbol, like, it looks okay, but then when you look at the left side,
Oh yeah, when you zoom
it
in on the
starts
left
to look
side.
like shit. Yeah. It's pretty bad.
There's this Superman one. Like, I'd love to see this actually drawn by somebody.
Yeah.
Like there's no horizon. It just goes from like ground to sky.
That's the thing with this artist. It's not even hidden. Like, you look at it, and you know how all AI art has like that same like glossy, like, it doesn't something doesn't look right.
There are no hard lines. Everything flows in.
It almost looks like a 3D model that they crafted.
Yeah.
Or something like that, but you know it obviously wasn't. It just looks so obviously AI.
Yeah, and that's just so. I mean, it doesn't. What is good though is that DC Comics banned all his covers, and they are all.
Oh, so they're taking action.
Yes. Okay. Let me read this quote. We have an article pulled up. DC Comics is making some changes. They have pulled all unpublished cover artwork by Fuck Mattina and are in the process of replacing it. So that's good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at this. Yeah, that's way better. That's what is they're replacing it with. Actual art.
Actual fucking art. Let's go.
Yeah. So I'm glad that action is being taken, but it's the fact
it shouldn't
that
have taken this long.
It only happened because of outrage. Whenever they were like, "Hey, here are the covers coming up," it's like, how do you, like, the higher ups at DC? What did they just like glance at it and they're like, "Yeah, that looks good." Like, you're not gonna inspect it, make sure.
It's hard to think about how these things go through that process, because there's no way you look at it and you're just like, yeah, that looks fine. Unless you literally take a glance. Yeah, because it doesn't. Anybody with a fucking brain would be like, this is AI. Maybe they're tricking the older people, because a lot of older people.
Probably.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, honestly, just the simple truth. Maybe they just don't care.
That's probably the easier truth. Yeah.
He turned it in on time.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look at Greg Land. I hate Greg Land. His art, we're talking about tracing. He traces porn.
Oh my god.
Yep. Every, like.
All right. Adding another name to the list, we have Synergy. What is the other one?
What, Greg Land?
Before Greg Land, there was Synergy, and then there was what? There's another word.
Well, what was the word describing?
I don't remember. There was another word, and now we're adding Greg Land to the list.
Yeah.
So
it's like, he also traces, which is just really annoying. But yeah, like, he's doing the new X Factor book that's coming out in a month or two. The From the Ashes, like we talked about a couple episodes ago, like Storm joining the X-Men and the X-Men, their island of Krakoa being taken away. So there's a new X Factor book, and he's pinning it, and there's one shot of like an explosion, and the girls' faces, they don't look hurt.
Yeah, I saw this.
Yeah, the guys have a facial expression of like pain, like they're getting blasted from an explosion.
Yeah.
But just, it's so infuriating because it takes you out of the moment. You're like, oh, it's an explosion. Oh, why do they look like that?
Yeah, they look happy.
Oh,
this is weird.
But yeah, so just the tracing and the AI, I hope it stops.
I do too. It probably won't, because this is how companies work.
If anything,
a lot of companies are trying to do. I mean, Sony and Marvel I think are taking action only because it's not Sony and Marvel, it's Sony and Disney, and then another company, I think. They're finally taking action against AI because it's copywritten material.
Yeah.
And
I
it's so funny to me that they didn't give a shit until they're like, oh wait, that's our work.
yeah.
Oh fuck,
I mean,
they're stealing it.
it's like you ask AI, like, give me the poster of a superhero movie, and it's gonna like show you an Iron Man poster,
Yeah,
or be like, what's a video game with an Italian plumber, and it'll just be like a Mario
exactly.
game.
Yeah,
It's like AI. I saw something that it's not even AI isn't even AI. It's not artificial intelligence.
no,
It's algorithmic learning. Like it
yeah,
doesn't think for itself. It just is like, oh, I was given a statement. Where's a response? And it just searches its database and is like response.
yeah.
So that's just something that's really frustrating. But yeah, I hope that they cracked. I mean, if anyone is gonna crack down on it, it's gonna be Disney and Sony. Oh, hello, dog. Have you heard that she's upset she's not getting enough pets?
Yeah. Yeah. Very selfish dog.
Well,
Just kidding.
no, fuck you. Um, all right. Yeah. Do you think it's time for Superman?
I do. Yeah, we're at that time.
We're
I'm
good.
calling this the Superman Power Hour because we've gotten a lot of shit on the Man of Steel for this new movie. A
Yes.
lot of new set photos have been revealed.
So, do you want to maybe try and go in order just from our memory of
We'll starting with Hawk Girl because I know you wanted to talk about her for a
yes.
little while.
Because I really like Hawk Girl because I mean my intro to her was probably a lot of people's Justice League, the
Yeah.
cartoon.
Yes.
But that was Shira Hall,
Yeah, Hawk Woman, which
Hawk
is
Woman.
apparently completely different.
Yeah. Oh man, the Hawk lore is it.
Complicated to say the
Yeah, I
least.
don't know if now's the time to get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a lot of reincarnating and alternate universe and Doctor Fate and
And I was curious when you looked up because I was like, oh, okay, I want to see a little bit. I want to know what I'm getting into when we're gonna talk about it. Apparently, you said they resurrect a lot, like it's normal.
yeah, it's they have to both be dead for them to resurrect. So like,
Okay.
um, if one like Shira died, and so it was just Carter, but then they wanted a new Hawk Girl and they didn't
Yeah.
want to kill Hawkman, so they had this new character Kendra, who this dog won't leave me alone.
What
They
the fuck? Like, why now? I don't
yeah.
get it.
So Shira Hall, Hall is her married name. Her maiden name is Sanders,
Okay.
and so they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have a new Hawk Girl, and it's going to be the great like grandniece of Shira Sanders,
Yeah.
and so she's Kendra Saunders." So it's yeah. So Kendra commits suicide
Suicide.
basically, and Shira's soul goes into her body and
Hmm.
resurrects her, but she's not Shira, she's her. But now
Yeah.
she also has like Shira's memories.
Memories. Yeah.
Um,
This is what I read on Wikipedia.
yeah. Yeah, I was introduced to her in Justice League of America 2006, which was actually one of my favorite comic runs back in
Yeah.
episode 1.
Yeah.
And then before that she's in the 99 JSA run. Um
Yeah.
but
That's
yeah,
right. That's right.
so it was a mystery which Hawk Girl was going to be in the Superman movie because James Gunn just announced Hawk Girl.
Yeah.
But then I think maybe a week or two ago, maybe 3, it was the anniversary of Kendra's debut back in 99,
Okay.
and James Gunn posted about it, basically confirming it's going to be Kendra.
Kendra. Okay. Which
Yeah.
implies that I like what I like about this universe over the other ones so far is there's clear history. I don't like when it's just like, oh, we started it and this superhero emerges and he's the first one. He's the first one
Because
to
who
emerge.
is like, oh yeah, when Marvel's at its best?
Yeah.
In the early 60s.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much. Wow, this is squeakiest chair.
Yeah, I know.
There is so much history, and they always want to start at the beginning.
Hmm.
Like, I honestly, I hope that the Flash is Wally West in
I do
this
I do
new
too. I want him to
DCU.
be the Wally West.
And we know that the Green Lantern is going to be Guy Gardner
In
in
this
this movie.
movie, yeah.
So that's the third. Well,
Mhm.
if we're counting Alan Scott, it's the third. Um,
Yeah.
Do you count Alan Scott? Okay, well, real quick question. It's a little sidebar. How do you view the JS, or how do you prefer it? As Earth 2 or as like World War II history?
I always viewed it as Earth 2 just because other media has kind of trained, like, the first one is Hal Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Most modern media tries to do that, but I think it's interesting to have, like, you had this established group of heroes as well, like the Flash,
Yeah.
who had the stupid pan on his head.
The bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, so Guy Gardner is the third Green Lantern, and then John Stewart is the fourth. And Stewart and Hal Jordan are getting their own show, Lanterns.
yes,
So
which I'm really excited for.
So that's already 3 Green Lanterns in the DCU.
Yeah.
No Flash, no Batman, no Wonder Woman, but we got 3 Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
um,
Shit ton. So
yes,
doing the opposite of what the DCEU did, where there were no Green Lanterns.
because
now,
they were working on this show,
yeah,
and they told Zack Snyder no Green Lanterns, so he had to
Yeah.
shoehorn in Martian Manhunter. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Superman.
yeah.
But yeah, so
Thank the Lord we're not.
we
I
got
don't talk about that.
yeah, we got Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, Metamorpho, and
Mhm.
Mr. Terrific. That is our. Do you think they're going to be the Justice League, or do you think they're going to have a different name?
They'll probably. I kind of want them to start with Justice Society. I don't want to see. I kind of want to get to know a whole different team.
Hmm.
I think their best move right now is we already did a Justice League movie with all those people. Let's do a whole different team.
Like JLI from the late 80s. That would be really cool. Because Blue Beetle, the Jaime Reyes version, he's going to be in this new DCU.
He's getting an animated project.
Yeah,
like
that's kind of frustrating that instead of a sequel movie, it's going to be a.
It can be, I think, but again, it's.
If it's done well.
I like seeing the emphasis on animation.
I do like anime. I think my worry is that they're gonna look down on animation.
You don't want to, yeah.
But James Gunn did say that the people that portray these characters in animation will portray them in live action.
Creature Commandos is apparently supposed to be live action and animated. It's gonna have live action bits and animated bits.
Another December project that's coming out this year.
Yeah.
We're gonna get Frankenstein. I'm excited.
I am excited. Excited for all this.
So we had those 4 members teased that they're going to be in this movie. And then Supergirl got cast. It's going to be Millie Alcock
from most people would recognize her from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, House of the Dragon, the spin-off prequel, I think.
Prequel.
I liked her in House of the Dragon, so I think she'll maybe be fine. But Supergirl, like with Hawkgirl or even the Flash, she's such a varied character that I'm like, which version of Supergirl are they gonna go with? Like, are they gonna go with the 80s, like early 20s character? Are they gonna go with the 90s, like she's a Matrix person that it's like from an alternate dimension? Or like the early 2000s where it's just a girl that bonded with an angel of fire. Dude, the Supergirl history is nuts.
I know. They said they're adapting the Woman of Tomorrow comic, so I think they'll probably take a lot from like more modern stuff, but they'll combine ideas from old as well. We'll see.
Yeah. Crypto is going to be in the Supergirl movie. Do you think he's going to be in the Superman movie?
Yeah, I think for sure, because we saw I'm blanking on the name. Mr. Terrific?
Yeah, Mr. Terrific.
Okay.
The guy that also played Darwin in X-Men First Class.
He did. We saw him on the set with dog treats getting recorded.
He was like
against nothing. Yeah. It's like, so I think Crypto's going to be in it.
And then
I'm excited for that.
I think there was another set photo of him, like he had some kind of, I'm guessing it was a tracker that he was following, and then he like came right up in front of a pet store with like the glass window shattered. Yeah. So that very much has my hopes
indicating
high. That would be really cool.
That would be.
Yeah, they were filming in Cleveland, and that's where all these set photos came from. We had those 2 videos that we just talked about, and then also our first clear suit. Sorry,
finally.
Our first clear image of the suit.
Yes.
After that kind of, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say the release photo was great.
I wouldn't either. I knew like we had our initial reaction, but then I remember just thinking like I know this is only going to age poorly. That's it. Because I know when that suit comes out, it's probably gonna look nothing like the set photo, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, this suit actually looks really cool." And when you have to do that for like something that's supposed to build hype, and instead it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
imagine if if they were filming the Andrew Garfield movies right now, and then they're like, "Oh, dude, it's all wrinkly and there's zippers," and it's like, yeah,
yeah,
like that's
yeah,
a suit meant for stunt work. Like
yeah.
they got to be able to move in
I
it.
think the only concerning element about the bagginess, I didn't give a shit about it because I didn't really notice it until people started pointing it out. That could be because I'm not looking as
Intently.
yeah. Um, but when every other Superman suit you can see like it looks like a regular costume.
Well, are you comparing? Are you talking about how they look in the movies? Because they,
Yes, yeah.
yeah, that's all CGI touch on it. That's why I feel it's
Well,
unfair.
and then when you look at behind the scenes photos though, you can see it still with Reeve, with Brandon Ruth in Returns. Even while Man of Steel did have the muscle padding on the suit, you
Yeah,
could still they made it a point you could see it. You know?
yeah. I didn't like the muscle padding on the Man of Steel
I don't
suit.
either. It's too glossy and
Yeah,
for the
it looked all
texture of the
shiny.
suit. Yeah,
The
yeah.
texture I thought was cool, but
It
the
was
fact that
fine,
it
but
looked wet
it
all the
should.
time.
Yeah, yeah, I know, and that's I think the weird. That's why it looks odd to me.
Yeah, I mean
So
that's why I like. Not that it's baggy, but I like that it's not form fitting
I do
because
too,
I mean
because
we don't
we've seen articulated Superman for a while, and he doesn't really need to look that way
yeah, like
all
we
the time.
don't need to see his muscles. I
Yeah,
mean, we know he's strong. I mean, and they can just
yeah,
throw a shirtless scene in there. Boom. Problem
yeah,
solved.
exactly. Boom, there you go.
Um,
Which they did with Cavill.
yeah. Uh,
Convinced a lot of people that that muscle articulation was real, but a lot of it wasn't in the
I
suit.
I actually saw there was a set photo that came out today of Corin Sweat like jumping up, like
Hmm.
doing that
Yeah,
Superman fly pose.
I saw that too.
And yeah, okay. So you saw when he's all extended like that, and there was no wrinkles.
Yeah, it looks
That
better.
looked really good,
It does
and
look good.
that's how I think it's gonna look, and that's how why I'm excited.
The other
Um,
concern is the lines. I didn't like them before, and I don't like them now.
I don't really like the lines either. Like, just let it be a solid color.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like with the Spider-Man, the Homecoming Spider-Man suit with all the black lines on the
The
blue.
the one thing that takes away, like I don't think it's as annoying as that, is because the lines are the same color as the suit. In on the Homecoming suit, they were black lines, so they're a lot more distracting. So you look at them and you're like, oh fuck, I don't like that. Whereas this, there's still like you can still see them, but it's like it's less like apparent, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
from farther away, you wouldn't really notice it.
Yeah, yeah.
I do like that. I
How do you,
don't like the collar.
you don't? Okay, I was
No.
just gonna ask that. How do you feel about that? I've warmed up to it a little bit more. I still don't
Yeah.
like it all that much, but I think where I like it on the original suit reveal, the collar was circular. You could see it on the neck with him bending down forward. This one, it has a cut going down, so it
Yeah.
looks like they altered the suit. Or he'll get alterations, or I don't fucking know. I don't know what they're doing, but
Yeah.
I think it's just they altered the suit a little bit.
Obvious New 52 inspiration they got
Yeah,
from there.
yeah.
I no, I just don't like it. I mean, it's just like with New 52.
Not a fan of the new 52 suit.
I think the Cavill suit is like the perfect um
Adaptation
version.
of that.
Uh, I mean, not of the whole suit, but just
Yeah.
of the where the cape is connected.
Hmm.
Man, just I mean, let me pull up a picture for you,
Okay.
Johnny. Okay, so I got this image pulled up. Yeah, Johnny, look at that. You see
Yeah.
how perfect that is?
Yeah, the neckline. I also
Yeah.
love the size of the emblem. I hate when the emblem's smaller.
I that pissed me off so much because in Man of Steel the emblem's large, and then Batman v Superman they shrunk it,
Yeah, and it
and I
looks like
don't
shit.
know why.
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer the Batman v Superman colors over Man of Steel. Just how
I do too. It looks so much like better. I don't like dark blue on the Superman suit.
I don't either.
I think that's what this set image what was the issue on the reveal image was
What
it looked dark blue, and
he
it
was
was
in a dark room.
that, and I think it was supposed to be battle damage because you could see even the emblem looked darker.
It did, yeah. I saw like on his arms, I think it did look
Yeah,
battle damaged.
it
That's
did.
why I wasn't fully judging it,
Hmm.
like the colors, because I was like, nah, I mean, but then again, I mean, with these set photos, they're in bright sunlight.
Yeah,
I I hope that's not playing any tricks.
I hope. Yeah, I want to see it in the movie because every suit looks so much better in the movie. Usually, I don't.
Infinity War Iron Man.
Yeah, or you could also make an argument Snyder Superman because yeah, well the color grading on the suit looked great behind the scenes in BVS. You could barely there was barely a scene where you could tell.
Well, I mean, half the movie was at night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
and raining.
Hmm. So it's just
um,
like you can't see shit.
yeah, I really hope that we're done with the era of like, no, we have to make the suit dark. It can't be colorful.
I
That's
know.
goofy.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Terrific, his suit also, I mean, pun intended, looks terrific. It
It
looks
does. Yeah.
amazing.
Which is it's funny how like the terrific suit is exactly like the comic one, and I'm not saying the Superman one isn't great, but it's funny how they're like two completely different.
Yeah. Well, I think because this is like, I mean,
We've never
besides,
gotten Mr. Terrific on, so you just got to stick by how he looks.
well, I was gonna say,
I would
Mr.
say.
Terrific was on Arrow.
Well, yeah, but like I mean, general audience.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't even know he was in Arrow because I didn't watch those shows.
yeah, I mean that's yeah. I really hope that James Gunn continues, like with Guardians,
Mhm.
continues to like take these kind of lesser known heroes and are able to make the general audience be like, oh yeah, I know who that one is.
Yeah, that's why I want them to start off with like a completely different team if they do a Justice League, which I'm sure they will. Um, they have to at some point
I
to do
I
JLA first or something like that.
I agree with you that I want the Justice League to be different,
Yeah,
but just the fact that we're not getting a Batman movie until 2028,
yeah,
that's
that's a good
what's
point.
that's what's so frustrating. And Wonder Woman, there's
Mm.
not. I mean, Paradise Lost, but that's a prequel show. It's not going to be
Yeah,
Wonder Woman.
yeah,
She'll be Diana probably, but so it's like we're
as a child.
yeah. So like we're getting Superman, and then we're not going to get the rest of the Trinity for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're doing creature commandos and lanterns. Like that's another problem. Like with what we were talking about with Marvel, talking about their phases. It's like they when you're spread out so much, you can't focus on
Exactly.
your main people.
Yeah.
Like I really before Gunn released the slate, I was really hoping that it would be reminiscent of the Marvel Phase One, where it'd be like we're gonna have a
Yeah.
Superman movie, a Batman movie, a Wonder Woman movie, and then a sequel to one of those, and then Justice League, and that's it. And then
Yeah.
there were like Lanterns and Swamp Thing.
I'm
And
kind of glad they're going in a different direction because it's mostly I'm just interested to see how it'll play out. But it could, in hindsight, be like, all right, you're spreading it too thin, and now there's no focus point. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. That's what he's called it. That's what he called it in the reveal slate or whatever.
do you think that still sticks? I mean, Legacy.
I would say it
They
does.
took Legacy off of Superman.
Yeah, but I feel like that's a minor thing you can like. You'll probably also have other productions that go through changes and but I think for the most part, he's ID'd like, okay, this is how it's going to generally look. We'll change a couple of things here and there.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think because of how fucked the DCEU was, and how like the Justice League was like they had that, and then there were no more adaptations with those characters ever. I think they're trying to go in a different direction to like, okay, audiences have already seen a Justice League, so they're not going to go see a completely new one
Yeah.
because it'll be confusing for them.
I mean, we've gotten technically two Justice Leagues because
Exactly.
Zack
Yeah.
Snyder's too. It's just, yeah, I feel like the term or the name Justice League would be a little tainted.
Yeah.
Do you think they would change the name, like do Justice League but change the name, or do you think they'll just stay away from it?
I think they will. They'll probably do like Justice Society or Justice League of America or something like
Oh, you
that.
think they'll take
I'm
the society?
thinking they'll do
You think Super Friends?
that would be as much as I would love that, they won't do that. What do you think about the prospects of Batman potentially appearing before his movie? Because we got Supergirl already appearing before the
And
movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
do you think Supergirl is going to be in the post credit scene or in the actual Superman movie?
I don't know. That's a good question. I kind of want it to be. I trust that Gunn knows what he's doing and knows how to balance characters because he balanced a lot in the Guardians movies. So he knows how to balance that amount. But
I mean, I don't know. He teased Adam Warlock in what, the first movie, and he didn't show up till
that
the third.
was a hard one because I have a feeling Marvel told him to do that and then didn't end up using it or something like that. Or maybe he assumed like, oh, they're going to use Adam Warlock because he's really fucking important to the Infinity War storyline in the comics.
Yeah, him and Silver Surfer.
Infinity Gauntlet or what I think that's what it's called. Yeah,
Yeah, Infinity Gauntlet.
yeah. Um,
I don't know.
and then they just didn't end up using him,
Yeah,
which is odd. But
but I mean I think they would do Batman before his movie. I mean he's literally the DC character,
exactly, he's had so
which
many movies and
it should be Superman. The fact that we keep getting bad adaptations, that really sucks. That when people think of
yeah,
DC, they don't think of him, they think of Batman.
and not only bad adaptations, but few. So when they come along, they were for a long time. You had Snyder's Batman
Well, and before that, the uh, Bryan Singer, the Predator.
returns. Yeah, yeah, the lovely, lovely, wonderful human being. Um,
Even James
uh,
Marsden was like, "Yeah, I'd rather do this than X-Men: The Last Stand."
yeah, I don't fucking know, but uh, yeah. So you had Snyder's Superman, you had Returns, which wasn't a great thing. You had Injustice Superman in the comics and in the games.
Yeah, and then the Injustice movie. I'm so sad. I'm glad Injustice is over because
It's like I don't even think the storyline. I think it was interesting, and that's what drove it forward. It had the shock value, kind of like The Boys,
yeah.
but it didn't have
Have
like
you read Injustice?
I think I've read a couple of issues.
Oh, dude, I've read. There's 5 years.
Yeah, it was like volume. It went up to volume 5 or
Yeah,
some shit like
there's
that.
like 60 issues per year, and then there's 5 years, and then
Yeah,
there's the Injustice 2. I didn't read Injustice 2
nah.
comics because I didn't care.
I mean, I like the game. Like I like playing the game, but I don't give a fuck about the comic
Yeah, I think Injustice 2 is better than the first one. Um,
story wise. Yeah.
oh, I was just gonna say
Oh,
gameplay
gameplay
wise.
wise, okay.
Eh,
I like the gear system. I think that's what.
I do like the gear system. I don't know. I think I like the first one's story better.
That's what I was saying. Is
Yeah.
like I think the story was fun. It was paced well, and I don't really give a shit about the story in Injustice 2. I cared about the what I cared about in that game was like I like being able to customize my superhero because when you have a fighting game and there's not really any real progression other than the leveling system, and you don't really have anything to unlock except
It gets
skins.
boring.
It does.
I mean, and that's what, dude. I was so excited for the Avengers game, and I was like, oh, I can equip new gear,
No,
and then the look did not
look
change.
didn't change, but you got skins
Yeah, and
that
like
they
the
all
gear,
added in the post.
yeah, the gear's art, like it looked like it would change how you look.
Exactly.
They
Yeah.
made art for
Yeah.
like, oh, here's how it would look if we let
Yeah.
you look this way.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. Before we wrap up, what do you think the plot's gonna be for Superman?
Ooh, there have been some set images of him with potentially Ultraman. Potentially,
Yeah,
it could be
Ultraman,
Superman clone.
Doomsday, Bizarro, no one
I
knows.
think it'll be a Superman clone
Yeah.
because I there was also another image that may or may not be fake. It's only one image. It's very blurry of Superman in a dark blue suit without undies.
I feel
And
like I don't know. Yeah,
yeah,
I haven't seen that.
yeah, yeah. So it's probably I think it's probably a fake. Um, So I think they're going to do like he's a Superman clone and they'll do Ultraman because Ultraman in the comics is like isn't he an alternate universe
Earth
Superman?
3.
Earth
Yeah.
3. Yeah.
I think they're gonna maybe they're combining because I feel like Gunn like maybe saw the success of the Riddler in the Batman and is like, okay,
Yeah.
instead of doing one villain, we're gonna have two and combine
Multiple,
them.
yeah.
So I think this is gonna be a combination of Bizarro and Doomsday because
Okay.
it looks like Doomsday's containment suit from his
Yeah.
debut, except it's black instead of green, but it has the same goggles.
And they also said that. Well, they also said the Authority is going to play into it. So do you think he's an Authority character?
I've also seen some people think that this is going to be the character Ulysses that
Mm,
debuted in 2014, the New 52 Superman run.
okay.
That later, I think after that arc, became the Wildstorm character Apollo, who
Yeah.
is on the Authority.
Okay.
So, like, the engineer is going to be in this movie, so that could be another way to get another Authority member in.
Yeah.
Do you think Gunn is going to direct the Authority movie?
He said it's a passion project, so I could see it. I know he wrote it. I think.
He wrote, really?
I think he did because he
Oh,
said
wow.
it's a passion. Well, I remember in the Slate reveal, he said this is a passion project of mine. That's why I'm doing it. So he wants to be very involved, whether he's directing or just writing. Um, I don't know how it would work with Peacemaker coming out because he's also said that as soon as he's done with Superman, he's going right to season 2 of Peacemaker.
Yeah, I mean, Peacemaker is finishing up pre-production. They're
Yeah,
like making their sets and everything.
yeah, yeah. So I'm thinking we'll have season 2 of Peacemaker probably around 2027, and then he'll probably go into the Authority by 2029 ish.
2027? You don't think
Well, because
Peacemaker would be
Superman's
26?
25.
Yeah, and then this is right
Oh,
after
I
that.
guess okay, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe. So point is though, like it'll be probably around when Batman comes out. Is when we'll get Authority.
Brave and the Bold or
Brave and the Bold.
the Bat? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Batman's 26, right? They moved that.
Yeah, I mean, they're still finishing up the script isn't even done for the Batman
Yeah,
Part 2. I
and
really wish they didn't do the Penguin show.
I it's funny because I like that Matt Reeves, like he's also said that Matt Reeves wants to be separate from the DCU. He wants to
I
have
have
his own
thoughts on that.
universe. Yeah, which is I think maybe the reason it's taking so long is because he's trying to maybe convince. That could be something he's trying to do.
My theory is that the Batman for the Brave and the Bold and the Robert Pattinson Batman is going to be, if it's not the same actor, Robert Pattinson, I think it's going to be the same character.
And they'll just age him up.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
that like the Robert Pattinson one's year 2, and he's gonna have his first Robin in
Mm,
part 2, or at least adopt Dick Grayson and then probably
yeah.
become Robin in part 3.
That would be a way smarter way of doing it,
And
I
well,
think,
and then
financially.
and then time jump because the Robin in Brave and the Bold is going to be Damien.
Yeah,
So then that
exactly.
way it's like the first Robin isn't just Damien. It's like, oh yeah, we also had Grayson and
Yeah.
then Damien, which
Yeah.
still kind of annoying that they, because that's what the DCAMU, the New
Hmm.
52 adapted movies, they just had Grayson and Damien and that's it.
And
And that's
yeah, there's no Red Hood and no Tim Drake, and it's like, okay, what the
yeah.
fuck? Yeah.
So, but I'll say we'll probably have more development on that by the end of this year.
We'll definitely get more development.
Um,
I trust Gunn
yeah.
right now.
So yeah, Gunn said that Lex Luthor's the main Superman villain,
Yeah.
but he did specify main. So that
There are definitely other villains. We've already seen them on
yeah.
set, so.
So in that original release photo they did for his suit, remember the screen in the background? There was like a
Yeah, the
beam of energy.
beam bullshit.
Do you think this could be this like Bizarro, Doomsday, Ulysses, Ultraman maybe character?
Situation.
His
It
eyes
could be something that Lex is like either funding or maybe he's created this fucking guy
Mhm.
and he can't control him. Because the whole idea with isn't he like he wants the reason he hates Superman is because he's not a man and
Yeah,
he didn't earn his achievements. They were just
yeah.
given to him.
Lex Luthor wants to be Superman, but without the powers.
So he
And
wants a
he's
Superman he can control, then maybe.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Potentially.
he hates Superman because he has powers. Like that's like
Okay.
he wants to be Superman, but he's like, I'm gonna do it without powers, and you're cheating.
Yeah.
The fact that you have powers.
And then in All Star he gave himself powers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
maybe
kind of
maybe that's then what he's doing.
Hey, All Star.
We'll see.
A reunion between the new X-Men team, Morrison and Frank Quitely.
Mm.
A lot of people have said that this suit is kind of pulling inspiration from Quitely's art with the baggy undies on the Superman suit.
Yeah.
So that was a
For All Star, I definitely I was going to bring that up and I just forgot that the way Frank Quitely draws Superman is really interesting because
I love it.
he's strong arm like he's supposed to be, like he was like back in the 30s, but he isn't overly like muscular. You don't see all the indentions. He's like
Yeah.
a big dude.
And I mean, my biggest gripe with this suit, how long the cape is. The way that Frank
You don't like
Quitely,
the cape?
I don't like how long it is.
You like the short cape better?
I like it when it stops like at his
At
knees.
the calves.
Yeah, I mean, even the calf, but all the way down to the ankle,
Mm.
like that's it, like Batman territory. Like I like Batman's cape to go down to his ankles or even below
Yeah.
that, drag on the floor.
I think on this suit, I think the longer cape maybe works because I don't know what it is with people thinking like, oh, I don't think the short cape looks good. It's like,
Anything can look good
yeah,
if you make it look good.
exactly. If you don't fucking try and you just say it'll look like shit, like what the, I don't know.
Well, I mean, all in all, I think the conclusion that we've come to is just we just gotta wait. Gotta
We
wait
do,
for
we do.
an official image
That
with
is the left thing.
CGI touch-up teaser trailer. When do you
Teaser
think
trailer.
a teaser will come out? They're filming
Uh,
more than halfway done right now.
I would say definitely either early or either later this year or early next year.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, when did the Deadpool trailer come out? When did the first trailer for that? Was that early
That was
this year?
I think that was I thought that was
Or
late
last year?
year.
I think it was. That sounds familiar.
Okay, so yeah, so following that trend, Superman's also going to release in July. We'll probably get a teaser maybe November or December.
November, December.
October at the earliest.
October. I feel like that's accurate.
That would be really cool. Nathan Fillion I saw was spotted on set, so I really want to see his.
He had a
bowl cut.
hood, so
He had a hood on. They're hiding the bowl cut from
yeah.
us. But wait, there's more.
There is more. Yeah, it's one last thing. Batman Cape Crusader.
I'm hyped for it just because it's new.
Yeah.
The art style looks really cool. They're kind of elevating Harley Quinn to Joker's status.
Yes, which I prefer.
Yeah.
I'm sick of the fucking Joker.
She has I don't know about her outfit. It'll have to grow on me.
I like her outfit. Because Harley's always looked pretty similar for a little while.
And this is a divergence for sure.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, because this whole show is supposed to be like a period piece that technically takes place in the 30s, which is why Batman looks like the first appearance Batman, and then most of the supervillains all are either Golden Age villains or have been reworked to look like Golden Age villains, like Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
So she's more reminiscent of a legitimate Harley Quinn, like how they're actually supposed to look.
Oh, Harlequin.
Harlequin, yeah. And which was the design philosophy with this.
Yeah, I like the voice. I can't remember the actor's name.
Not Tara Strong.
Doing Batman. Oh, I was gonna say for Batman.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
The Batman actor. Okay.
Yeah, but I heard in that one clip, it sounded pretty good.
So it was weird because when they revealed the voice, I was like, I'll have to hear it in the trailer. In the trailer, it sounds so much better. I just think it was probably the mic or whatever that he was using. It's kind of weird.
Same thing as for Superman, though. Just gotta wait for a little more to come out. All we have is just some images of what the characters look like and the cast.
I've wanted there's a for his 75th anniversary, he got a small little short that was black and white that was kind of the same style. You might have seen it. I don't know if you have or not, but it was like a minute long, and it was exactly. I had said since I had seen that, I'm like, I want a show like that, and we're finally getting a show pretty similar to that.
I'm very excited. Do you think they're gonna have Robin in this? I mean,
at some point,
Batman debuted in 1939.
Well, they have chubby Alfred, right? So like they have Alfred from back in how he was supposed to look, or how he did look, and whenever he first appeared.
My gripe.
So they'll have Robin.
I really hope they do, because the fact, like, I'm sick of Batman and no Robin. Batman too. Like, Batman came out in 1939 and Robin was 1940. Like, Batman had 1 year to himself, and then he's been with Robin ever since.
It's like when Spider-Man is always portrayed to be in high school.
Exactly.
He was in high school for like maybe 20 issues.
Like from 1962, and then he graduated in 65. And yet we've gotten 3 different reboots of Spider-Man, and he's in high school every time.
Yeah. And
Like,
even more than that, but yeah, like
well, I was just talking about
general
films, but yeah, like the TV shows and everything.
Ultimate Spider-Man
Yeah,
was like a big one, and then
that definitely. I
kid
feel like,
shows, and
yeah, I feel like Ultimate Spider-Man brought back the high school Peter
it
stuff.
was because that whole thing was like, let's bring it back to the roots. Let's do blah blah. Let's do a
'Cause he
modern
was
adaptation.
yeah, he was a teacher whenever Ultimate Spider-Man started.
Who was
Peter in the main Marvel
the
universe.
new
He was
Ultimate?
no, I was back in the 2000s. He was a teacher, so then that's what the appeal was for. Oh, it's Spider-Man back in
Oh,
high
okay.
school.
You mean you're not talking about Ultimate? You're talking about Amazing.
Yeah, like
Okay,
the
okay.
main Marvel universe.
Was
Sorry.
doing the teacher. Okay.
Yeah, like he
Yeah,
was.
I was like, no, he wasn't. He was,
Yeah.
he was in high school. That's the whole conversation. Yeah.
Sorry. But it is funny now that it's the reverse. That like now in the
Yeah.
main universe, he's like all immature and everything. So
Yeah.
now the new Ultimate, he's an adult, and that's just a really
It is.
funny
It is a
dichotomy.
funny timing.
Um, but yeah. So that'll probably be it for this episode.
Yep.
Hey, we're able to not make it to an hour and a half. Look
Exactly.
at
Yeah.
us.
Look at that. It's only an hour and 11. We'll cut it down probably.
Probably. Hopefully it'll the finished cut's gonna be an hour 9.
Hopefully like an hour 5.
All right. So we'll be back next episode with some new topics.
Yeah, we'll see because the world is ever changing. We'll get
Yep.
new news on Superman and the DCU. Hopefully, we'll see.
Grass tastes bad.
Yeah, but dirt
Cut that. Cut
is.
that. Nah. Fucking hell. Cut that. Cut that.
The fuck was that?
I'm fucking stopping this.
All right.